Looking both back, look back. Welcome to the live Q&A broadcast. I'm your host, Coach Ty, and this is the HoopsCircle podcast. But again, we're doing something a little different this week. To you guys that are following us on Instagram, we are live this week on Instagram. Thank you guys for joining. Like I said, we are trying something a little different. This is our fifth week now. If you haven't gone on iTunes or Google Play Music, we have some podcasts loaded up there. And this week we just wanted to do something a little different. We wanted to have a live interactive Q&A with you guys. Allow you guys to come in and talk and definitely interact and ask me questions. This week we're introducing our new intern, Big JoJo. So let me turn the camera over to Big JoJo.
What's up? How you doing?
So JoJo's going to be working the boards eventually and helping with the audio broadcast. He's a growing young producer. He's going to start getting his music out there soon. So, just remember where you heard it first and where you heard about him first, which is here on the HoopsCircle podcast. So we're just going to give our folks a few more moments to jump into the live feed. Like I said, this platform has been great to to get out here to talk about girls basketball here in Tampa. We are going to be expanding into other areas as well. We're going to be expanding into the central, more so Central Florida, the East Coast of Florida, South Florida, eventually over the next couple of months. Like I said, this initial podcast was just to bring light to the Tampa area, but because of a lot of the positive feedback that we got, we have, we've been invited to expand. So that's why you haven't maybe seen us on Twitter as much the last couple of days, or you haven't seen us put our special edition podcast out, because we've been working on a lot of things behind the scenes. So again, we're just going to give it a few more minutes. Again, we know we got some people joining in. We definitely will have a lot of fun with this. Like I said, we're just looking to give you, the fans, a voice to join. Thank you, Doc, for joining. Appreciate you jumping on. This is my man Doc from up in Brooklyn. BK all day, every day. For those of you who will watch the rebroadcast about this, I typically represent New York brands, but today I wanted to represent the 44 brand to show our appreciation for military. So the 44 brand is a military brand. It's funded by vets. It supports veterans. So I'll try to get some website info. My brother-in-law, JR, got me this hat. So definitely wanted to support the military. We salute all the troops here at the HoopsCircle podcast. So we definitely wanted to show them some love and represent the 44 brand. It's a brand, again, we'll be featuring throughout our podcast. So again, if you have a brand that you are, you're trying to get out there and trying to get noticed, definitely reach out to us at HoopsCircle@outlook.com. And again, we'll definitely support your brand on the podcast, and we'll definitely get it out there. So again, so let's look into the email box real quick and see what emails we got out there. Yeah. So all right. So looking in the email box, let's see. If we had any questions? Oh, so I want to follow up real quick before I jump into that box. So last week on the podcast, we talked about coaches, and we had a couple of articles that we referenced in Winning Hoops, where some coaches went out and they resigned. So we had a coach that resigned because of pressure due to from parents. We had a coaching staff that was suing parents for slander, and another article came out that we tweeted about where I believe it was in Wisconsin, a Wisconsin coach quit because the parents in a bar went after him, and I couldn't believe that they went after him in this bar. Like it was mind blowing that you attack this man in the bar, and a coach has every right to go where he wants to go, but you attack him in the bar because of things like playing time and things like I mean, I saw a situation recently where a parent talked about playing time, and and parents again, you have to understand that at the high school level, this is not everybody plays. This is you earn your burn. You basically have to go out there and show and prove that you can play. It's not That's how it is in college. Like everybody's not going to play, and as parents, you can't live your dream through your kids. And I know I've said this 1,000 times. You can't live your dream through your kids where you are, you're telling them what to do, or you're being hard on them at the end of the game. It has to be about that kid first. That kid has to be the one having fun. And we get too many kids that quit or leave because of parent pressure, and now we're getting coaches more and more that are leaving because of parent pressure. It's one thing to be dirty, and when I say dirty, I mean you're mishandling funds, or you are, excuse me, you're basically stealing from the program. But you have a lot of coaches out there that are trying to do good things, that are trying to put your kids in a positive light. And not everybody's made to play in college. That's just what happens. But like I said, go to your local athletic authorities, go to your local their websites. Look how much these coaches are getting paid. I mean, like I said, the private schools will pay a little bit more money, but for the most part, in public schools, they only make it up to $5,000 off of a stipend. And anybody that's been involved in coaching definitely knows that in coaching, you don't make a lot of money, and you put in a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours. A lot of us do it because we love it. So again, we're just waiting for a few more people to jump on in. Like I said, Doc, appreciate you jumping in. Doc and I go back all the way to elementary school. One of the biggest wrestling fans I know. We're gonna have him on the podcast at some point to talk wrestling, Doc. So I know I know you got me covered on that for sure. So I'm a big wrestling fan. Thank you, man. I appreciate the love, man. And I know, I got my boy Ralphie out in Arizona again. And the funny thing is, I haven't seen Ralphie probably since Gershwin. I haven't seen Ralphie since Gershwin. And he's one of my, him, Doc, Ralphie's brother Corey. We got Perk, AJ. We got Greystone, a.k.a. Chris. And we got Charles, aka Buffalo Chaz. We were in a group called PDA. Thank you. So, sorry, that was just a feedback from the live feed. But we have, we play Call of Duty, we play Ghost Recon, we play 2K, we play a ton of games that, we're just friends having fun, and we haven't seen each other in like forever, and we definitely like I said, we have a good time with it. So but yeah, so you guys play Xbox. I'm on Xbox. I'm Black Pharaoh TH on Xbox. Thank you, Coach Key, for joining. Coach Keisha, who represents our team run basketball brand, bright coach. Lady can cook, so I just want to give you a shout out, Coach Key. She be putting some food on Instagram that man, it'll change your life, and it's healthy food, it's good living, and and I'm looking now that I'm here in Florida. I tell all the time I'm looking forward to my plate because she be putting some good food on there. Because one thing Coach Ty can do, Coach Ty can eat. So yeah, so now you're welcome. You're welcome. Like I said, I want my plate though. I'll let you know when I'm coming on that end. I'm be looking for my food. When I go back up to Brooklyn, two things that I get White Castles and I get pizza. And don't ask me about the White Castles. Oh, I know you got me, Coach. I know you got me. White Castles is just, in the South they have something down here called Crystals. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same. So I definitely love my White Castles and New York pizza. Now I've had some pizza out here that was similar to it, but it's definitely not the same. It's a little different where I don't know. I mean, they say it's the water, and there's nothing. All of us, New Yorkers, we know there's nothing like New York water. You can drink New York City tap water and live for 100 years. The water out here, yeah, it's just a little different. But for those of you who know, New York City puts fluoride in their water, which makes it a little bit better to drink. But in any case, there was a pizza shop that I went to in Georgia. I think it was Johnny's or something like that. And the pizza was close, but I've actually heard of pizza shops in New York. In the South that have their water shipped in from New York. So they have New York City tap water sent to them so that they can they can make their pizza taste like New York pizza. But there's nothing like New York pizza. For those of you who grew up in my area of East New York, between Boulevard and Linden and Penn Workman houses, I think a lot of you remember Ernie's Pizza on Stanley and Hendricks. That was hands down. I mean, that was my first introduction to pizza as a kid, and Italian ices, the real Italian ices, but that's what we call them. I know they got that slushy ice and everything everywhere else, but they definitely Ernie's was a staple in the community. It was kind of sad when it closed years ago. It's been closed for years now, but I mean the pizza was just it'll change your life. New York pizza will forever change your life. So yeah. So if you guys got any questions or any topics, for those of you that are on the live feed, definitely throw something out there. Anything that you wanted to talk about. We got a big Super Bowl matchup tomorrow, where the Eagles and the Patriots, and I say the Patriots because I'm not a Patriots fan. What you over there throwing up, JoJo? You throwing up the bird gang?
And I just gotta say, I don't like the Patriots. They cheat. I don't care what anyone says. I just have a hatred for Patriots. If you guys are Patriots fans, I get it, but I just want the Eagles to win. They kicked my team butt, so I want them to get kicked.
What was your team?
Steelers.
Yeah. JoJo over here is a Steelers fan. Shout out, what's up, Mel? Thank you for joining. Thank you. I don't even know how to get the name. Oh, T. I'm sorry, T. Thank you, T, for joining all the way from Cali. That's what's up. And my girl met with Luna Lux Events up in Brooklyn. So if you guys if you need a wedding planner, party planner, or just a planner period, definitely shout out Luna Lux Events. You'll follow her through Instagram. She'll definitely have your party popping, but she'll have your party professional at the same time. And T, T, love you, girl. I know I got to meet you when I came out to California. You're definitely an inspiration to everybody. So thank you for joining. I won't go into details about your story, but you are true. Example of strength and courage and with everything that you've battled through. So definitely want to give you a shout out. Like I said, Mel, definitely with Luna Lux Events. Like I said, I see your pictures. I see my little man PJ out there, getting big. He gonna be he gonna be the big Phil in a few years. So that boy growing fast. So it's good to see him and follow him. I know I don't get a chance to make it up to New York as much as I want to, but I'll definitely get back up there to see you guys soon. And T, like I said, definitely gonna come out to California soon. I got to go to California a couple of years ago, and I loved it out there. I mean, now I've had this conversation with Chi. We talked about moving and stuff like that. She's trying to get me to California, but I am terrified of earthquakes. So let me tell you guys an interesting story. So a couple of years ago on the East Coast, we had a earthquake, or what was perceived to be an earthquake. I think it was just something else going on in Virginia that caused the whole half of East Coast to rattle. But we'll talk about that in another time. So I'm in Delaware at the time, and I'm living in I'm renting this house in Delaware, and the house all of a sudden starts to shake. So not knowing what to expect, I go looking out the window because I think that a truck is driving by. So let me give you a little backdrop to the street that I lived on. It was a very small street. If you drove it was a two-way street that should have been a one-way street, but it was so small that you had to basically almost park to the right to let somebody get past you. I didn't live near no railroad at the time or anything like that. So I'm thinking like, well, what was that? And I go immediately looking out the window. So everybody who's ever lived in California or been in an earthquake knows the first thing you do is you find cover. Me, I go to look out the window to see what's going by the house because I have no idea what's going on. So I get a big kick out of telling that story because I can't do I'll do a hurricane. I'll take my chances in the hurricane, and they say hurricanes, with the water damage, then earthquake because. I saw that movie with The Rock, and I know that that's kind of realistic but unrealistic as far as an earthquake. But that I would be terrified. Like I wouldn't know what to do. Rain, I can handle some rain. I'll be all right in some rain. So, so guys, if you have any questions, any sports questions, definitely shout it out. But again, going back to what Big JoJo was talking about. I want the Eagles to win too. And not because, I have some friends out there that are Eagles fans or anything like that. It's only because I don't like the Patriots. I'm still bitter from the tuck rule game where, Tom Brady, act like he was going to throw the ball. He tucked it in, and I think it was Charles Woodson that knocked it free. And they say, oh, well, because he was – I can't even explain the tuck rule. Because he was in control of the ball – it technically wasn't a fumble, but it was a strip sack.
Yeah.
What was that, JoJo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So like I said, that game was crazy. Let's see what you say, T. The last big earthquake we had, I stayed in bed until it was over, then went to work like it was nothing. Yeah. So you're a deep sleeper like me. I sleep through anything. I wish my brother Derek was on to tell another story. So when we was kids, we used to stay at my Aunt Lynn's house all the time, and out in Fairfield, out in Brooklyn, and her neighbor had left something in the oven, and it was burning, and it started smoking, from the terrace. So the fire department came. I had to be about maybe 11, 12 years old at the time. I'm sleeping on the floor. And I wake up the next morning and everybody was like, "You don't remember the fire department?" I'm like, "No, I don't remember nothing. I don't remember anything about, no fire, no nothing." And I can sleep through anything. When I'm tired, two things I'm going to do. I'm going to sleep hard and I'm going to snore. And that's definitely what's going to happen. Thank you, Focus Life, for joining. Appreciate you jumping on, getting some more of that Florida love down here. And my family, of course, love you. Good to see you guys. Good to see you on. Got to come out to the East Coast there to see you soon. That was my first introduction to Florida was coming down, to see my brother after my brother Corey after he got married to his beautiful wife Tracy, and I knew at some point I was going to get down to Florida. I just didn't know where, and I ended up on the West Coast, not too far, but it's close enough that I get to see, and interact with my brother and my family, more. Hey Ryan, thank you for joining. One of my former plays, appreciate it. Um, oh, let me see if I can get Ryan sent your request to be in your live video. Let me see. I don't know how to do that just yet, but I had to figure out how to get you into the live video. I don't know. Coach is still technically challenged, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about you. Ryan up there playing that ball. She's a 2020, I believe. And I know I get because so many girls, I get my years mixed up. But, a guard out of South Forsyth High School. I got the opportunity to coach her this past summer with Peak Performance. And, good young lady, long, going to be taller than me, I hope. And definitely, definitely can knock down that three. So, Ryan, I hope you're still knocking down them three-pointers out there up in South Forsyth. I'm going to see you guys out on, I know I won't be coaching with you guys, but I'm definitely going to see you guys out on the circuit at a few tournaments. So I'm definitely looking to catch up with you. Say hi to your mom and dad for me, please. I was blessed to be around some great parents last year. A lot of great families. But guys, again, if you guys have a sports question or a sports rant, go ahead and put the question up into the feed, and I'll definitely read off your questions. So if you have anything going on, like I said, me and JoJo was just he was talking about his dislike for the Patriots. I have a dislike for the Patriots. It's personal. Again, he's a Steelers fan, and I know the Steelers didn't beat Jacksonville. But how did you feel after that Jacksonville game?
After the game, I didn't know what to feel. I'm like, okay, so Jacksonville, it's a good team. I'm like, it's not bad. It's not like sucky team, but it's not like the all-time favorite team. So my team, of course, I think my team is the best team in the world. No one can beat them. So when they lost, I'm just like, my heart dropped. I just went. I said, you know what? I'm not hungry. I'm not going to eat. I went straight to sleep. I'm going to forget about this next day. And then, of course, someone brings up the Steelers lost, so how you feel? I'm like, it's just, at this point, sports is a good thing to, sports is a good thing to have in your leisure time. So at the end of the day, all I'm saying is, Eagles, please win. And just kick it. Like, just kick it. Like, just win. Win for me. Thank you. Just win.
Yeah, and what's interesting. I'm a Raiders fan, so so Big JoJo and his dad. I give them a little grief because I'm a Raiders fan. I wasn't a Raiders fan back back in the '70s, but since the '80s. But I definitely we definitely have our little rivalry going on here. So let's see. Doc got a question. What's your thoughts on the changes to the NBA All-Star Game? So. For those of you that don't know, they changed the format where the top two vote getters got to pick their teams, kind of like a pickup style. So, Doc, thanks for the question. I definitely think that it's something that could work because you're not seeing the same players playing together over and over again. I think there's some interesting picks there, with LeBron picking Kyrie and some other things. I think the format's going to work because again, you just don't have you players are getting to play with each other where they normally would not, because typically you bring them together on the All-Star game, and every year you'll have the same, maybe 5 or 6 people that are All-Stars every year. They always get to play with each other at the All-Star game. So I think mixing it up was good. I think it's something good that's going to grow. One of the other things that they put out there is that the winning team is supposed to get, I think, $100,000, and I think the losing team gets like $25,000 or something like that. So there's definitely more incentive to win. I think that you have a little bit. It's going to be more of a playground style, which for those of us that play playground ball, it can pick up. It can be intense. Last year was just everybody didn't play well until the fourth quarter. But I think this year with this format, now you're starting to see those matchups in those plays play together that you normally wouldn't see play. But on the flip side of that now, I think that you're going to more likely start to get those super teams. And what I mean by those super teams, so now now you got LeBron playing with guys from the West that he normally wouldn't play with unless there was a trade involved. And now so now let's say, DeMarcus Cousins just got hurt. So let's say he's playing with DeMarcus Cousins, and DeMarcus Cousins is like, now come play with me out here in New Orleans, and not that LeBron is going to New Orleans, but now that these guys are getting to play more with each other in these cross settings, there may be the opportunity, there may be the thought that more super teams are going to form because now they're like, well, what if we played together? What if we joined forces and did this? I mean, when LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade did it, they didn't play with each other, prior to anything, and also, and when Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett came together via trade, they had never really played with each other. So I think it's going to be more good than bad, than anything. So I'm just definitely looking forward to the format. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you to my man Nick, aka BK Giant 79, for joining. I'm gonna catch up with you later, my brother. Appreciate you joining. Giants fan through and through. So I definitely at some point gonna want to get your feedback on your Giants. With their new coach who said this was funny. He had a talk with Odell Beckham Jr. about what was it like. What does it mean to be a Giant? Like, dude, you've been the coach 2 days and you're gonna tell somebody what does it mean to be a Giant? Like, come on, man. You ain't even been in the organization that long. So, you want to tell people how to be a Giant, and then see your biggest player, Odell Beckham. I mean, I know he's been a little off the hook, so to say, and a little suspect with his behavior, but he's a good kid, and I think he wants to win. The question is, what are they gonna do at quarterback? So, Nick, if you want to put something up there, what do you think they should do? Should they keep? So let me ask you, Nick, should they keep Eli, or should they draft Rosen, or should they draft the run? I like the running back Barkley. So let me know your thoughts on it. Let's see. We got another question. What do you think is missing in high school sports? That's a good question. I think what's missing is dedication. And when I say by dedication, it goes a bunch of different ways. I think that with dedication, you have to have dedicated parents, you have to have a dedicated coach, and you have to have a dedicated player, and you have to create that balance where parents aren't living through their kids are playing for themselves, and coaches are not about winning but about development. So I think to answer that question, I think dedication is what's missing in high school sports, and it has to be a partnership between the parents, the player, and the coaches. So let's see, jumping back.
Nick, back on.
Okay. So let's see, did you get the running back? Because I think Jacksonville may take Eli. So yeah, that would be interesting. Just jumping back to my previous question out to Nick. I think I like. I mean, if they keep Eli, which it sounds like they're going to do, then you got to go Saquon Barkley. You got to draft that kid. He's a difference maker. But if you're going to get rid of Eli or cut him, the league year starts in March after the Super Bowl. I think it's March after the Super Bowl. If you're going to go that route, then I think you definitely take Rosen. I think I like Donald. I'm a USC football fan, but I think he's probably going to go number one. But I think you definitely got to take Rosen if you're going to trade him. But I would prefer Eli to stay for a couple of more years. I think he's still elite. He just didn't. This last season wasn't his fault. He played behind a bad offensive line, and he didn't have no running game. So you give him a running game and you improve the offensive line. I think Eli can do some things. So if you guys got any other questions, definitely throw them up there. Any other thoughts? And like I said, going back to my previous question right before that one, again, what's mentioned in high school sports, again, as I just said, it's dedication. And we can't force our kids to play. As parents, kids, you can't expect everything to fall in your lap. And coaches, you can't make it about winning. you have to make it about developing, because when you look at your team, unless you have one of those super high school teams, which are out there, not every kid is going to play college, play ball at the next level, and not every kid is going to go pro. Less than 1% actually go to D1. And I mean, and from D1, D2, D3, NAIA into the pros, no matter what sport you're talking about, again, the numbers, is probably even less than a percent that actually even go pro compared to everybody that's out there. So what if the coaches and parents don't see eye to eye? So good question. So so again, I first and foremost, I put that on the parent, that as a parent, you got to understand that this person is helping your kid and developing your kid, and they're taking their time out of their day, because again, like I said earlier, coaches don't make a lot of money. Some of them do it for free. Some of them do it, for a stipend that's typically $5,000 or less. So as a parent, you have to kind of think of it like, okay, this person is really, here to invest in my kid. And now from a coach's standpoint, again, I've had parents that I didn't, disagree with, but I always hear them out. But you guys, coaches and parents, you can't make, when coaches and parents don't see eye to eye, it's about playing time. And that's just my experience. And if you don't see eye to eye, then neither one of you are making it about the kid. And you have to sit down and talk to the kid and see, what does the kid want. Now, if it's a kid that wants to play at the next level, that wants to go to college and play, then you definitely have to, that kid has to be put in the work. That kid should be the one waking you up to say, Mom, Dad, I want to go out here and train. I want to get some shots up. I want to do some drill work. It has to be about the kid. And I think I've seen it too many times, especially in basketball period, where the parent is thinking, yeah, well, my kid is D1. My kid is going to Duke, UConn, Louisville, Florida State, or some of the bigger programs. Oops, forgot to turn my notifications off. that was bad. So I play. I'll talk about that in a minute. I play a little DraftKings with the basketball, but the parents have unrealistic expectations, and you don't talk about the kids about what they want. And another thing, and then again from the coach's perspective, you're trying to win, but like as I said in my podcast, coaches tend to spend 80% of their time focusing on their higher performing players and 20% of their time on their lower performing kids, when it should be 100% of your time on all of your players, because if you pick this kid to be on the team, then they have a role to play. And as I was talking to one of my former players earlier today, I talked to her and she was talking about whether she was going to play her senior year or not. I said, well, listen, everybody has a role. I said, I said, you're not getting a lot of playing time. Totally understand. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to compete. But being a teammate, you can root the girls on. You can play your role in practice. You can still make the team better. And if you don't go on to college and play, that's fine. But you can still stay a part of the sport because you've maintained the basketball IQ to stay, involved some way going forward. Like I talked to my story, I broke my hand, my right thumb, my junior year, lost football and basketball. My senior year, I didn't take care of my grades like I was supposed to. And when I tried to walk on at a mid-major D1 school, I didn't take care of my body and I got hurt, on top of, life situations that was going on. So I didn't play. But look at me, 20 years later, I'm coaching, I'm doing this podcast because I've maintained a high sport IQ over the years. So you don't have to necessarily have success in basketball, to do something successful in the sport of basketball. And as I told her, points and scoring does not equal success. What equals success is being a great teammate. And as long as you maintain and being a great teammate, I think that, you have to, that will take you further than anything that you can ever accomplish on the court. So again, just going back to your question, what if the coaches and parents don't see eye to eye? They have to be the adults in the situation and say, what is it that the kid really wants? If your kid doesn't want to play D1, then, that doesn't mean don't play the kid, but that definitely means that, that should be the common goal is the betterment of the kid and not, the parents' thoughts or the coaches, wanting to win. Because I threw out that question 2 weeks ago on my podcast: is winning in high school sports, is it that much important? in Florida, because in Georgia, if you don't win, they fire you, and that's unfortunate because, like I said, I had a buddy of mine that got relieved from a job, but here he was sending all his kids to college. So when you're sending your kids off, if you're a coach and you're not winning, but you're getting your kids into college, I think that's more successful than state championships. But we live in a day and age where it's all about how many banners you got on your board, and not more so about how many kids did you send to college. I had an interesting reflection on a coach out here at what was it, Sefner Christian High School out here in Tampa, and he threw out a tweet talking about his tough schedule. And at first I didn't really understand what was where he was going with it, but I understood. He's playing the tougher games to make his kids mentally tougher, so that when they go on to the next level, they know how to play in these types of games, and they're not winning these games 88-8 and things like that, and not blowing teams out, so that when they go into the district or state tournaments, they're not they're lacking mental toughness, where they're now getting beat because they've gotten to a running clock in every game. So I told Coach Cooper over there, I salute him. I got a couple of other good coaches that I talked to. Coach Bauer out at Bloomingdale, Coach Maggie out at Brooks de Bartolo, Coach Dora at Carrollwood Day, Coach Holloway over at East Bay is a good buddy of mine. So we talk a couple of times a week. And that's what we're just looking for, some good basketball. And I love when I talk to these coaches. It's not about them; it's about the kids. They don't care about where they finish in the top 25. They just care where they finish at the end of the season, which you should, because you play the game to win. But they're every time I've seen these teams play, their kids are getting better and better, and they're not regressing. Where I'm going to other games and they're winning so big that where's the mental toughness? Thank you, Pastor Marilyn, for joining. Definitely appreciate you joining the live feed. If you have a sports question, if you about anything you want to talk about, definitely throw it up there on the live feed. We're answering questions today, just doing something a little different than what we've done with the podcast before. So our podcast, every Saturday, just to give you guys an update. First and foremost, thank you all for your support of the podcast. I definitely appreciate it. We're growing on iTunes. We're growing on Google Play Music. So, and also now the YouTube channel is up. So, if you follow any of our social media feeds, we have links to the YouTube channel. So please go ahead and go out and subscribe. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is every Saturday we're going to have these Q&A sessions. I want to interact more with our followers. Next week, I don't know which format we're going to be on yet. Fragrance Junkies, thank you for joining. So we're going to be, either on Instagram, or we may go to YouTube Live or back to Facebook. So we're going to bounce around as far as the live interactions between the different social media outlets. But the regular podcast now will go up every Monday. And again, we're going to have some guests on. We're going to have a couple of travel coaches come on and talk about their programs in the upcoming travel season. I've been interacting with different people on Twitter to try to get them to come on. We're going to have a discussion about Play of the Year here in the Tampa area between the different counties, and just getting thoughts. So we're going to have a lot of guests come on. And as we even get into the travel season, we're just going to go out. We're going to be out. I'm going to be coaching at different tournaments. And, just giving you some feedback on some of the teams that I've seen. And again, although I coach with a particular team and I have, and I've been a part of another program, I definitely don't hate on any program. I support any program, anything that's trying to make the kids better, I support. What's the YouTube channel name? It's HoopsCircle. It should come up with one word or two words. What I've found out has been, because I just put some content up yesterday, and it's going to take some time for the channel to start to appear. It may not show in your initial search, because they typically they want you to be up 30 days before they start putting you out there. So that's because channels go up and come down so quick that they would flood the search bar with 101 different channels out there. So but the links are in our social media post. I got to turn these notifications off because this thing is killing me. But thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
We have Pastor's son, Kenny Gaines. He plays professional basketball. So
Okay.
we'll give a little highlight.
All right,
And
Pastor.
she's a supporter of the game. Her son plays professional. He's a professional athlete.
All right, Pastor. All right, we have Pastor's son is Kenny Gaines. This like he plays professionally out in Italy, and he's from Atlanta. He plays out in France also. Okay, that's what's up. Definitely good luck to him. Much success to him out there, and in the world of basketball. And just for any of you young men or young lady that are watching, I want to applaud this young man because everybody has the dream of playing pro ball in the NBA, but you can go overseas and still have a successful career. And that young man, just showed that hey, he didn't quit on himself. He's out there overseas playing like he's gone to, and he's getting to see the world from a game that he loved as a kid. What's up? It's Dev Clancy, my cousin Dev, for joining. Appreciate it. Dev is a growing artist out there on the hip hop scene. So check out his music. He's definitely got some beats and some lyrics out there that are good. Oh God, that song escapes me. There's a video you did in Philly from a song. That's one of my favorite songs that he did. He's out there in Philly just walking up to random people, handing out this, and he's filming it as part of his video. But
and Jamie Foxx, I think he had.
yeah, then he had a video. Then I saw your video with Jamie Foxx. I saw your video with Jamie Foxx and
Right next to him.
riding next on the bike, and that was pretty cool. That Jamie Foxx actually showed you some love, and the good thing is you didn't even you wasn't like paparazzi on him. You just got him to say something. Yeah, just pulled up and said what's up and gave you a shout out and kept up on his day. So Dev, I see you out there in Arizona doing big things. Excuse me. I know it's got to be hot out there because my my boys out there. He says 85 degrees. I like. So that desert heat is definitely something different, man. I know something that you're not used to, but it's definitely something different.
France Junkies is joining us from Georgia.
Fragrance Junkies, yeah, from Georgia. So definitely, definitely gotta get some fragrances. 'Cause I'm a big cologne guy myself, so definitely want to come. Definitely gonna order some fragrances from you. Like I said, we just show love to everybody, that supports us. We'll support you. For the like I said, for the basketball players, I met a family not too long ago. Actually earlier this week of a senior who's not getting recruited, and I just had a conversation with the dad and the grandfather. I was like, yeah, I know school's looking for kids. I'll definitely, the first thing I asked him is what's your GPA, because that's the first thing that everybody's going to ask is what's your GPA. So if you have, if you know of a player that's a senior, definitely have them reach out. We'll help them any way we can. We'll help any kid, if you're, whoever you are, if you're just trying to achieve that dream, we'll help you. But like I tell every kid, you got to keep your grades up, because it's the first thing a college coach is going to ask is, what do their grades look like? So, excuse me. Ooh, had to get some water there. I'm talking too much. But this I'm doing what I love, and I can talk sports all day, every day. Like I said, we got a big JoJo here. That's our intern for the podcast. Who's like I said, like he said earlier, he's a big Steelers fan, rooting for the Eagles tomorrow. I guess I got a ton of Eagles friends, Eagle fans that are friends. And one other quick story: when I lived in Delaware, the Raiders came and played the Eagles, and everybody was giving me the business that week. Everybody was giving me the business that week. And Jamarcus Russell was the quarterback, and I was worried because we were in our down years then, and I made a couple of bets with some people, and let's just say that some Eagles fans had to wear a Raiders jersey for a day, and I got pictures of it. And then on the flip side, when I with the Yankees, when they played the Phillies in the World Series, I had everybody holding up a banner that had the number 27 on it because they gave us, championship number 27. So shout out again to all my Philly peoples. Definitely had a good time when I lived in Delaware. Cheesesteaks are phenomenal. Everybody always asks, if your Geno's or Pat's. I like Geno's. I can't lie. I've had Steve's, the Prince of Cheesesteaks, down in downtown Philly. That was pretty good. But Geno's, I'm just a Geno's guy. JoJo, you like a good cheesesteak over there, man?
Of course.
You ever had Geno's or Pat's or any of them?
No, but I'm a cheesecake break. That's my favorite dessert.
Oh,
That's
cheesesteaks. Cheesesteaks.
No, I never.
No, I know a cheesesteak.
Oh.
Now cheesecake. Now, to all my Brooklyn people, you guys know Junior's hands down is bet down. You haven't had good cheesecake. I know you've had Cheesecake Factory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know that with the Cheesecake Factory, I know that it's different. But I'm telling you, I gotta get you some Junior's cheesecake. We also got what's called the Instapot over there that you can make a good cheesecake out of. So we're gonna hook you up with some cheesecake. All right.
Send them all.
Gotta take care of those. That take care of those. Yeah, Doc used that Geno's last Saturday. Tell you, man, it'll change your life, man. They just slap it up. And the crazy part about Geno's, if you don't know your order, they tell you to move on. You say, I wolfed that down on the way to the NXT takeover. Oh, I bet you did, man. That cheesesteak is on point, man. And it's crazy. They right next to each other and they compete, but I've just been a Geno's guy. I don't know. I mean, people from up north in Philly will tell you, they have all these different types of preferences, but I definitely, love me a good cheesesteak. Definitely wish I got to find a place down here in the Tampa area that does one. So again, guys, we're gonna go for probably about 10 more minutes to 1:30. We were only gonna do a half hour, but we've stayed on now for well over that, almost an hour. So appreciate it. Again, please make sure you follow, you go on iTunes, Google Play Music, follow our podcast. Make sure that you also follow at Jachi TV, who's the producer. We're going to get Big JoJo's social media out there very soon for you guys to follow him. Like I said, just, great young man who, like I say, he's going to get his hands involved, with the show here. And also, almost forgot, man. Shout out my man, Smitty Productions and Critical Sounds. If you've seen any of our promos, our live promos that have run on Facebook and that have run on Twitter and things like that, we got a new when we run our podcast tomorrow, and we posted on Monday. We got a new intro song that Smitty produced. So big shout out, Critical Sounds. He's out of Detroit. I've been knowing him for almost 10 years now, and definitely a musical genius. So again, if you need something for your show, if you need something, if you're a rapper looking for beats, it's Critical Sounds with a Z, and it's critical_sounds. Again on Twitter. So definitely follow him, reach out to them. Like I said, when you guys hear the intro tomorrow, it's gonna be fire. It's one of my it's a track that he did that he was just like, yo, when he sent it to me, he was like, yo, Ty, I knew you was gonna love that track, man. I knew how you felt about that track. So again, excuse me. So shout out again to Critical Sounds for the music. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely show the love. Again, guys, we got about 9 minutes left in the live Q&A. So if you guys got any more questions, definitely throw them out there. Again, we'll talk all sports. We talk high school sports. We talk pro sports, college sports. Like I said, good question about the All-Star game earlier. Again, also make sure you follow Jachi LLC Photography on Instagram. Jachi specializes in branding solutions, business services. So again, if you're a business out there and you're trying to get your brand up on social media and other platforms, definitely that's the person that you want to reach out to. Definitely help you. Producing our podcast to doing pictures. They do it all there at Jachi LLC Photography. So definitely follow them. So like I said, this has been a lot of fun. Like I said, if you guys got any more sports related questions, definitely throw them up there on the board.
I got a question.
You got a question? You got a big question, Big JoJo? What's your question?
So people must go ahead and tell me and show me that Bron is thinking about going to the Warriors.
Okay.
So what do you think about that?
Good question. So he asked, what do I think about LeBron going to the Warriors? If LeBron goes to Golden State, I will boycott the NBA. And I love the NBA. I love basketball. I love football. I'm a Yankees fan with baseball. I didn't like Kevin Durant going to the Warriors because you went to the team that beat you and not to a team not to so you went there to be down instead of going over there to take them down. Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, you just put up the same thing. Do you think basketball will be interesting to watch if LeBron goes to Golden State? I will boycott the NBA. Only thing I will watch is inside the NBA because I love Shaq, Charles, Kenny, and Ernie Johnson. I'll just watch that on reruns. But I will boycott I won't watch it. If he goes to the Golden State Warriors, it's not going to be fun. It's
Right. It's not gonna be competition.
yeah. I mean,
It's like,
you got the best
because
player.
everyone knows that Golden State and Cavaliers have the biggest beef, and everyone doesn't know because like there's two people you gotta beat when it comes because last two finals with Cavaliers and Golden State. There's been all types of chaos with all types of beef.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like no one's not gonna really watch NBA like that anymore. Because what's fun in watching almost a full all-star team against all other teams?
Yeah, yeah, and that's basically what you'll have, an all-star team.
You'll have an all-star team on a regular team on the NBA. So that would be like, what would be the point? Because who'd win most of the games. Not all, but most of the games. And who'd be in almost every finals, in every playoffs, in every, that's why I think that LeBron should stay. And if he wants to leave, go to another team. Because Brown, he's a great player. Like, hands down, he's a great player. I have a lot of respect for him. Even though I don't like the team he plays for, I got respect for him. But, now, I mean, I'm not saying that, how do I explain? It's not, right now, it's all right watching them play. But now people will have a main focus on the Warriors. And so my personal thing is, it would just, it'll take the urge, like, who's going to win? Or like,
Right.
who's going to this and that.
Yeah, just like Coach Key just said, it takes away from the excitement of the game. Exactly.
Exactly. It'll take the excitement away from the who would win. Because like last finals, I didn't know who was going to win. Because it's two good teams. Like we already have Kyrie who went to the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have him anymore to back you up. You have Isaiah Thomas is dealing with Dwayne Wade, but Dwayne Wade, I think personally, Dwayne Wade went to the Cavaliers because of Bron.
Right.
Because they had, they were tight when Bron was at the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
They were real tight. So, it's like that would be a knockoff for him. He went to Cavaliers just to be alone without
Right.
Bron again.
Right.
So, like I'm saying, it wouldn't be much
fun
to watch NBA. And that right there, hands down, Bron should just stay. Let him stay. Let Bron stay.
Yeah, and to your point, I don't think he's gonna take. I don't think he's gonna stay in Cleveland. Let's see what Coach Key said. A good matchup is when it takes 20 minutes to get through 130 of the. Yeah, and good point, Coach Key. If you notice, actually, there was a rule change in the NBA that when you get to like a certain point in the game, because they want so much action, they actually reduce the number of timeouts a coach can take into. So before you can carry over 4 timeouts into like the last, I think 4 minutes of the game or something like that. But they've reduced it to 2 timeouts. So they've gotten rid of the 20-second timeout. So everything is all full timeouts. But now the rule changes that in the fourth quarter, you can only carry but so many timeouts until the end of the game. So, and I think he's going to go to the Clippers. And I say that because, and I know that's been the talk of sports radio all week.
Right. Yeah.
They just cleared out Blake Griffin. I think, they're talking about they're going to trade DeAndre Jordan and Lou Williams. Lou Williams, I can see them trading him if they're going to make a push for LeBron because Lou Williams needs the ball as much as LeBron needs the ball. But I'm not a fan of super teams either. I mean, the days when the Knicks just had, Patrick Ewing and his, and his homeboys around him beating everybody up physically. Those days were the good days. But the Clippers. LeBron has a house in L.A. That's no secret. Supposedly, there was reports on the media that his wife was looking for, schools for the kids. And Jerry West, so anybody that knows Jerry West, aka the Logo, he's definitely somebody that's respectable out there in the game of basketball. He's worked with the war. Actually, to your point, he's actually the one that helped put the super team together. Getting Kevin Durant out there. He's with the Grizzlies before that. He's with the Lakers. Back in the Showtime days. So Jerry West, being as respectable as he is, I think Doc Rivers is going to be on his way out. I don't think Doc Rivers is going to be the coach beyond this season, but I think DeAndre Jordan needs to stay. I think DeAndre Jordan needs to stay. I think they have some young pieces around there that they got back in that trade. Tobias Harris is a good role player. Avery Bradley's a good role player. I think they're going to make a push for Paul George. I know Paul George wants to play for the Lakers, but I think he just wants to be in LA, period. So I think that happens. And it's funny because Oklahoma City was going to trade Paul George to the Clippers for Blake Griffin, and Oklahoma City had a chance to get an Oklahoma kid back home, and they walked on it. And now, I know Paul George. I think Russell Westbrook, being from California himself, I think he kind of understands what Paul George is thinking, and Paul George is thinking, I just want to go home and play at home, And yeah, Doc, let's bring back, the competitive play. When you have Magic, again, to your point, Doc, to what you just put out there, there are no longer the days when you can associate, one guy with, with one team. Now, I think Kobe's going to be that last person, but now everybody's bouncing around, from team to team. So I know you guys see our countdown comments because we're about to wrap it up. But I think that you now see that everybody, there's just no loyalty in sports, and it's just become a business, and it's not about the fans anymore.
Not that competitive, right? Like Doc was saying, there's no competitiveness in the teams anymore. Everyone just looks forward to the super teams.
Yeah, everybody just chasing the ring. So. And that's unfortunately, where we, the time that we live in. So, I want to thank you guys for joining live. I appreciate it. I know we started a half hour later than we wanted to due to some technical difficulties getting the Instagram feed up, but because we definitely want to have, the feed cut out like it's done with some of the other things. But thank you guys again for joining. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the follows. Be sure to make sure that you follow us on iTunes, HoopsCircle, on Google Play. Again, same thing. Twitter, social media, Twitter and Facebook is at HoopsCircle. Instagram at HoopsCircle Podcast. Like I said, the YouTube channel, we have the links in. So thank you guys again for the questions and joining live. We're gonna do this every Saturday. We may move the time around to work, to a time where we can, to get more viewers. But thank you again for the love. Appreciate it. Thank you, Big JoJo, for being here today.
Peace out.
Thank you, Jachi, for the production. Definitely Jachi TV. So have a good night. You could have been anywhere in the world, doing something different, but you were here listening to me, and I appreciate it. Big up, Brooklyn.